to our today's virtual online acrylic painting fall workshop for beginners. Shewta Shah is here with us today to demonstrate fall still life painting for advanced beginners. Let me talk about Shewta a little bit. Shewta Shah, a fine arts graduate, has worked with Michael Stores as an art instructor for 3 years. She recently graduated from our very own, the Detroit Institute of Arts, and will be an active member of the institution as a museum docent. Also works with the Troy Public Library as a volunteer. She is a wall mural artist. You may have a quick look at her works on her business website. I will be sharing with you through the chat. And if you have any questions throughout the workshop, please use the chat or question answer feature to send it out, and we will answer them at the end of the program. Thank you very much, and enjoy the workshop, enjoy the painting. Shewta, it's here now, it's everything is yours now, and you can take over. Thank you very much. And I will be sending the link, her website link soon now.
Okay. Thank you, Uma. Thank you for the introduction. And thank you, Clinton-Macomb Library, for the opportunity to make this workshop possible for all the fellow people who are interested in art-inclined viewers. I would love to join you guys in person as and when the COVID-19 situation is over. But meanwhile, we can always have our good hands-on creativity. I hope you enjoy this workshop along with me for the colorful festive season. Here I come with the reference picture that we have been showing on the website as well as the magazine of the library. This is what we are planning to paint today. It is a seasonal, simple painting with very less art supplies, but a lot of creative work, and I'll make it easy for you to follow step by step with me. So to make this image a painting, I'm going to use 4 colors. My color palette has titanium white, cadmium yellow light.
Excuse me, Shewta, you need to go back a little bit because we are not able to see you. Okay, thank you.
Okay, and okay, I'll just repeat the colors. The supplies you may have for this painting is titanium white, cadmium light yellow, raw umber, and crimson red. You can have any white surface for the color mixing, and you may use a painting knife. You generally use the 8 number filbert brush for my paintings. And to detail, there is this round brush, which is number 1. And here we start. So you may try to paint along with me step by step, or you can just have a view, and maybe you can implement this later on. So first, I have taken a 12 by 18 inches canvas. This is a stretched painting canvas I get from Michael's or Joann's. I usually make it a little damp with a little water sprayed on it. And I prefer to take out the excess water with a kitchen towel so the canvas becomes ready. As you see, this is a little wet and ready for the paints. I'm going to use the first coat. I have taken the reference picture in here. I'm going to make the background first. If you see closely, you see the orange tone, which is quite flat, and it is majority of this subject. So I have already taken the titanium white, 2 proportions of yellow and a little red. So mixing yellows in a little red. So basically the quantity that I show my students is a green pea size. So you can actually understand the quantity I'm talking about here. So this makes a nice bright orange here. And the best way to clean a paintbrush is I put the excess color on my canvas directly. And it is making the brush a little wet here, taking out the excess water on my kitchen towel and just simply spread it. Painting is all about enjoying the paints. There is no perfection expected here, just enjoy. So playing along with the warm colors is so much fun during this season. Actually, it's a little late, but still fall colors are in my memory, fresh memory. Hope you can see this properly. I'm going to paint this all over my canvas. I'm going to leave a little space in the second half of this canvas, but I'm going to pull out maximum paint from the upper surface, and a complete canvas is always painted. Even if there is a white space, we have to paint it. We cannot leave the canvas just as it is. That's the basic idea. We can also use a bigger brush to make this a little faster, but here I'm not going to push you to buy so many supplies during this lockdown situation so far. Let me know if someone is painting with me so I can just slow down if it's going real fast. So we are almost there with the very first coat of our painting. I think I'm going to cover it up with this leftover orange because orange is almost all over this image. The reference image has so much orange on it. And I'm just loving this color. It looks so good. Pretty vibrant, huh? It is okay if the beginner's strokes are here and there. More raw strokes, more fun. It looks more authentic. My hands are so trained to do it so perfectly like an image, but you can have your own version. It's going to be your masterpiece. So don't worry if you do not make a canvas look exactly like this. You have your own version. All you have to do is just enjoy this beautiful masterpiece. So I'm leaving a little space empty in the bottom because I'm almost done with my color. If you have it, you can cover it, no problem, because this painting medium allows us to put more and more layer over it, and they become opaque. So even if you don't want something, you can redo it, repaint it. I'm going to wait for a little while until I make another color and show you how we go ahead with this. So for this, I'm going to bring this reference picture again. I'm going to do the pumpkin now. So if you see here, we have a slightly darker orange and reddish tones here, and we are going to put the top of this later on. But to make it more easy, I'm going to make a shape like this and then go for the detailing, and then I will touch the candle. And in the end, we are going to do this part, the dry grass. So it gives us the exact, almost nearest effect of this 3D looking painting. So I'm going to mix red and a little yellow this time. So the another shade of orange stands out even more. I'm going to make the shadow like paint also along with the
Okay, 1 minute.
orange.
Sorry to interrupt you, Shweta. A person has Adrian. I think she's very, very excited to start I could only find a 12 by 16 or 14 by 18. Which one do you recommend?
Any size is okay. It just needs the proportion. If it is scale to the same ratio, it is okay. Otherwise, it can be a little broader or a little more taller painting. So basically what we do is whatever the canvas size is, the subject matter remains in the proportion. It is just okay if your canvas doesn't match with my size. You can keep it a landscape and we can go, portrait, and you can paint with me. Does that answer your query? Shall I go ahead? Okay, so I'm gonna grab my paints and I'm going to show you how much did I take for the next shades. I'm just grabbing my yellow and red. Give me a minute. Okay, so for my paintings, as you know, I was working with Michaels. I'm so habituated with this Academy Grumbacher paints. I hope you can see them. So these are my favorite color mediums, but you can have your choice. There are plenty of acrylic paints available in market. I'm going to take 4 green pea size of yellow. I'll show you how much I'm taking. So here we are. Okay. With the painting knife again. Oops. So I have this red, which I had taken before, and I'm going to pull all the red into my yellow. And this is going to make a little darker orange on my palette, which you can see already here. You have the reference first color on your palette. It looks like it's almost going similar, so I'm going to add some more red to this because working on the same orange doesn't make sense, does it? Okay, so almost like 2 green peas proportionately, and we're making a slightly lighter shade of red here. And here comes the pumpkin in the picture. So I'm just going to also teach you the comparisons relatively. Relativity always helps us scaling down or blowing up a picture. I have done a wall mural which was 10.5 height by 7.5 feet width. And I scaled that image from a 6x4 small photograph. So I always do this. I always compare how much is the pumpkin size, and then as compared to the pumpkin, how much it is going to occupy on my canvas, and also the candle. So candle is going to be smaller than the pumpkin. Pumpkin is also almost getting the 65% of the canvas or the image. So that is how my brain scales this. You can also have, you can wait for a while. You can draw the shapes on this canvas once it dries. But I think we have to match with the timeline, and I will go ahead with this proportions, okay? So here we go. I am beginning with this area where I find the pumpkin size, which begins here, and it almost gives me a ball kind of image, which has these curves on it. So I'm just putting the first few strokes, which are not going to be so perfect, but eventually I'm going to correct them as I go along with details. I think this is pretty audible and easy for you guys to follow along with me. So here is almost like a circle which has curves on the outer side. Okay, so now we have the basic shape with us. I'm going to make this completely covered with my darker orange, which doesn't look so different from the first quote we ever made before. And I have something here. So I use both the sides of the brush. Okay, so now we have a good amount of this orange here. And now I'm going to make the grooves that you see here. So the new color that introduces, I'm really sorry, I did not mention this before. This is raw umber. This color is always there, but I forgot to mention this. So you should have this when you are painting it. You may find it in your set if you have got the entire set of acrylic paints. If not, you can also try to use your black or maybe the darkest shade of blue, because eventually it is going to give a little shadowy look in the grooves of this beautiful vegetable. So it's easy. You can see the strokes and just leave them as it is. And now I'm going to do the candle, which is just almost this height of this pumpkin. And here we go. I'm going to make it come down. And then I do have this raw umber on my palette, if you can see here. So I'm taking this color on the tip of my brush. It's very small quantity. The orange is still on the brush. It needs to stay there. And the best thing about acrylic paints is you do not have to wash the brush all the time. You do not have to let the previous color go, because it's gonna give you an amazing look if you're not doing something which is extremely contrast, a very new color on the surface. So we are going to fiddle around with this orange hues, orange and brown hues. So I have taken a little raw umber and I'm going to make the candle, which looks darker on the bottom. So here we go. I'm overlapping this, and then I'm going to give it a little shape because I want to show that the pumpkin is covering the candle. And then, yes, the bottom part is always going to be darker than the middle side, especially when two objects are covering each other. They form a shadow. So just a few darker strokes in the bottom, merging towards the middle side of this candle. And now this brush needs to get rid of the dark shade because we don't want to entirely paint it dark. So I have this kitchen towel on my easel where I'm just wiping this brush off. If you can see, there's still a little paint inside of my brush. I'm not washing this. The reason behind we do not want to wash this brush frequently is if you put a lot of water in acrylic paints, the molecules of acrylic paints, they do not form a good binding. So eventually it is going to crack the colors. So I would recommend that you go along and just wipe it off and then try to merge the shades just gently, just like this. Easy. I'm working on the candle, just the beginning coat.
Excuse me, Shweta.
Sure.
Suddenly your picture and everything became so hazy for me.
Is it? Oh, okay. Is it still hazy or it is looking good?
I don't know. Let me check with the participants if they are able to
Okay.
see it or not, and only me.
Okay, sure.
Now now it is good.
It is? Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Shall I go ahead, Uma?
Yeah, go ahead, please. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so I'm taking the orange one more time, and I'm going to add some more strokes, a little thicker strokes on the middle and top side of the candle. So if you see, they are almost merging into each other. The orange are so similar everywhere. And then I need a little yellow to do the candle which you see on the rear side of this image. Is it visible to everyone?
Mm.
And I'm also going to work on the flame now. So here we go. Acrylic paints dry really fast, so I recommend to take them out from your source in a very few quantity. I mean, you should know that you're going to finish this color, otherwise it's a fade stage. So I recommend taking it out as and when you require. Now I have yellow in my paintbrush, and I'm going to put it in the center of this, as you can see. And I'm going to wait because the paintbrush has raw umber on it and the orange as well. If you see, the pumpkin has the highlighted sides where you can see the usage of yellow and lighter orange tones over it. So I'm working on this. As in when I make such shades, it is good to put them along with the other shades that you see in the same picture or image. So that makes our job easy and quicker. So if I'm working on one particular shade, I try to see where else do I see the same color. And then I try putting it on my image. So if you see the strokes, just a little yellow, and I'm just going along with the shape of this beautiful thing. I'm also dragging this raw umber here, so it doesn't give me the raw strokes. It just gives me a little merged effect, because basically it is the shadows that make a groove, and then the pumpkin looks 3D. So here we see I am just following the image, the reference image here, and going along with what I see on it. The yellow is going to make the highlights appear very nicely. Orange is the medium tone, as you see here. And the browns and darker shades, they form shadows. So understanding the highlights, medium tones, and shadows is very important. They make you play along with this darks and shades, and they give the 3D effects easily if you do it with a proper understanding. It's not that hard. Practice, just practice makes it easy. So I think I'm almost done with my light yellow, but making some more raw strokes as you see here. And yeah, it gives you a very dramatic sense of the parts which are going on the surface and the things which are going in the shadow. The acrylic paint is so much fun because it dries quickly as compared to oil paints. It doesn't smell. And then you have freedom to merge the previous shades into the newer ones, just like this I'm doing right now. So I'm going to make this harsh looking line merge into a nice soft shade that doesn't look like very, very dark shadow. It should not look like a cracked pumpkin, right? Okay, just a little shadow. And that should do the trick. All right. I think I'm getting there. I hope you guys are enjoying painting along with me. Let me know, Uma, if I'm going pretty fast. If someone is painting with me.
Sure, sure, Shweta. I'm just looking all the chats and I think they're enjoying.
Okay. Oh, that sounds good. All right. So here we go. I think all I can see from here is the highlight of my lamp and the glowing paints. Okay. Yeah. Not bad. All right. So see, the base coats are done. I really want this to dry a little bit, and maybe we can chat for a while until these things get dry. Or if you want, I can go ahead and put the strokes in this surface. You can also make this look a little bit more dramatic by making the maple leaves. I wanted to do that, but I thought maybe for beginners, it will be too much of work. I don't know. We can add them. So, would you like me to draw a maple leaf behind this entire arrangement we have made up till now? It would be good.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I got a one yes. Okay. All right. Okay, so it's going to be a five corner maple leaf that we usually see, like the Canadian flag leaf. So to do that, I'm going to start it with one first lightest stroke. Go ahead, make one more, like a star. And then it's going to be orange, so it is okay even if you make a little mistake. It allows you to correct it later on. That's the fun of acrylics. Okay, and now you're going to have the round brush in the picture because we have done the base coats. You need to add some darker and lighter shades here. So I'm going to make this one look a little bigger. I have this image in my mind, but it will be really good if you can go grab a leaf when you are painting it. So I used to do it in my academics when we used to do the nature study, and that used to be so much fun. Now I'm going to add a little more raw umber to this because it's a dry leaf, and to make it look more real, you can just fiddle around with this darker shade to make it look like it's a fallen leaf, and you want this leaf to come out from the background. So after working on the raw umber, I'm going to bring my number one round brush in the picture. You can wet this a little bit in water and take out the excess water by rubbing it on the kitchen towel. I'm taking the yellow, raw yellow on my brush, painting in some of these areas where I want this leaf look more lighter. This one needs to dry because the orange is so wet and it comes on off. I can barely see the yellow. Can I? Okay, so I think I'm going to let this dry before I want to work more on this. So, I have an idea. Why don't we allow them to talk with us?
Oh,
And
sure, I can do that. And okay, I will allow everyone allowed to talk.
Yeah,
To talk.
just 5 minutes, and we can
Yeah,
resume.
no problem.
Okay.
Okay, I have to give them all unmute.
Sure.
Then they can unmute.
Hi, Kathleen, Carol, Adriana, Ella Page. I'm sorry if I mispronounce your names. Please pardon my accents. I would love to have your questions answered and resume the work. I think everyone is still, some of them are muted.
Carol has unmuted, but I don't know. I'm not able to hear anything from her.
Yes.
Are you able to hear?
I'm
Yeah.
here.
Okay.
Okay,
Hear me?
Carol, go ahead. And we are not able to hear you well, but you can talk a little louder, please.
Okay. This is Carol.
Hey, Carol, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
I think you were there last time too, right?
Yes, I was. Thank you
Ah,
for remembering.
of course. Tell me, how is it going?
It's going okay.
Okay. Do you have any questions regarding this?
Not yet.
All right. Are you painting along with me?
I am.
Really? Oh, I would love to see your presentation then.
Oh, well, this is what I have so far. I don't know if you can see it.
No, I cannot because maybe the video is stopped too.
Can you,
Or maybe we can see it in the end of the session.
I don't know, maybe. I
Yeah.
don't have a video recording
Okay.
icon to pick. Huh.
All right. No worries. Just let me
Oh,
know if
well.
you have any questions, or we can jump on to someone else's window.
I'm doing okay.
All right, Carol, thank you.
Sure.
I would like to see your version of this painting in the end of the session then.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
If we can do that, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Anyone else?
Who has a cuckoo clock?
Yeah,
I
someone
do.
has.
I do.
May I know your name? 2720458.
I think it's Rosemary. Maybe it's me. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it doesn't show anything but your phone number, I guess. I don't know. Okay.
Well,
So
this is Rosemary.
Hi, Rosemary. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Are you enjoying painting?
I am, but I'm not sure what I'm doing here, but that's fine.
That's okay.
just-
You can always access this.
I'm just finding it very relaxing. It's nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is such a stress buster. You should do it every day. Just have your paints and canvas. Do not organize everything, or you will be like, oh, I'll do it later. Alrighty. Good thing that you guys are doing it or planning to do it, probably. Okay, so I think some of the layers are looking dry, and I will go ahead and do the highlight work. Also, if you see, the picture has some dry grass on the base, on the bottom here. So I'm going to work on this because this area is not touched yet, and I have this surface pretty dry, so I can go ahead. I'm going to make this color and I'm going to show you how to do it. So here we go. Always mix your colors with a paint knife. Do not mix them with a brush because the brush makes the color molecules settle inside of the brush very deeply. Hey, Uma, can you just make the screen the normal size like before?
It
Hello?
is.
Oh, it
It
is?
is a normal screen.
Okay, all I see is everyone's window here and my screen is in a small box right there.
Okay, maybe you should make it like a full screen. If you make it to full screen, then
Okay.
it will go, I think. Okay. Are you?
Yeah, yes. Okay, so I'm going to use the white color now. My painting knife already has some color on it, and I'm gonna make the beige kind of color here. So I'm going to just mix the orange, which is stuck on my knife, a little bit of orange, and then I'm going to take raw umber on this. As you can see, this color has dried a little because, okay, so now this one looks like a grayish orange tone. And I'm going to add 1 green pea proportion size of yellow. So this looks like kind of yellowish grayish tone, which is not exactly the way I want. So it's more about experimenting. So I'm taking a little more white here and taking some color from here. This makes a lighter tone, and I'm going to make this stay in a very random manner. It's not going to be, it's not a plain surface. It is dry grass. So I would like if the strokes are randomly put here and there. And now, with this round brush, I'm going to use this. It's easy, random, it goes everywhere. We have this beige tone as yet. We are not using the lighter one, but I'm going to make one more shade here. I'm going to bring white to the picture, and some of the areas will be painted a little lighter than what the base coat we have made. So going on the surfaces, I'm going to cover the pumpkin and the candle somewhere, which gives us the little bit effect of the dry grass. This is easy, fun, and it is covering the canvas where we have left it white. So initially, it's going to be a few strands here and there, but then you want to cover some of those with a darker shade, somewhere a little lighter. So I'm taking a little raw umber in that gray shade right here, and I'm going to make some of the strokes in some of the areas right here, like this. I'm not touching these areas where I have to give the highlights as yet, because I see them, they're still wet. But this is giving us a little scope of reaching to finishing line and also enjoy the random strokes. Nobody has to master these skills. It's all about your creativity. Just pick an image from a magazine and try to put it on paper. Try to start with really simple elements like this, and maybe you can gradually make more complicated images once you feel confident. And paintings is more about experimenting with colors, fiddling around with colors. That is fun. So I think we have almost covered the base right here. And now I want you to take a little more yellow in the gray shade, because even though the grass has the same shade all over, it needs to look different somewhere. Okay. It is fun to do this in true time videos, and I do not find like I learn something from the videos. Those are like time warp. They go really fast. They don't show the quantity of colors they are mixing. So sometimes my students also come back and say, we are missing the live videos because of this reason. We can definitely learn so much from YouTube videos, but they go fast, or sometimes they don't show how much color is mixed, or else maybe some other reasons. So I'm glad that I'm here to have you guys make this journey a little easy and layer by layer. Okay, so I think this is enough for now. and we can definitely go ahead with the other shades of this two main elements of our image and also put the details on this leaf. I'm going to take the red in my palette now because I'm super tempted to make the leaf look awesome. So since I have not used the raw red color anywhere, I'm going to wipe this off on my kitchen towel and take red. And I'm going to paint it where I see the surface looks pretty dry. Only the corners I'm going to touch are those who are dry and they look good to me. Okay, so now this is coming to a shape. If you have seen the leaf closely, it makes this kind of corners, and that's the beauty of the leaf, maple leaf. I'm just trying to make it simple for you because going deep into it is going to be, it's going to take a little more practice and observations. It will be a fantastic idea if you have a maple leaf, maybe an artificial one, because now all the beauty has fallen. So we have to wait for one entire year for the fall colors. But anyways, thanks to the artificial manufacturing companies, artificial leaves and flowers, they bring colors even during the winter. So now if you see, you can find more details into this leaf, and I'm going to detail this with raw umber. So here we go. I'm going to make the center, and then this part is going to be more tricky because all the veins and the other things, they begin from the center, and then that one. Yes. So here we go. We have done almost, the leaf is done, and now we want to do the detail work on this portion. So if you would like to see the reference image, the center of the pumpkin is what I'm trying to say. This is what I'm going to make now. So I have the reference image. You might have your reference images with you. I'm going to make the dark shade, which is of course raw umber mixed in the gray that I have on my palette. And it looks like it's a circle. It forms and then it goes here. So I'm making the first basic shape of this broken side of this, what do you call, twig, or maybe the center of the fruit, the stem maybe. Yeah. And then all I see is it has the gray tone on it. So I'm going to fill this up with the shape I have painted over this, like this. And when I have to show the curve, it's going to add a little more darker tone and do this little bit detail work. If you can see this clearly, I would be happy if you can draw those things along with me. Maybe in near future, we can just do these things like the olden days together under one roof. Okay. So I'm going to let this settle down, and I'm going to take a little white, which I see in my reference image, and I'm going to put it on the top of this portion. And then the white still remains on my palette in my brush, and it goes here. So the strokes, the highlights, they are going to make this pumpkin look shining on the tops where the light hits the most. Make sure that you take a little less quantity in your brush and you're not doing the entire thing with the same shade. Being students, we do that, but that's okay. Acrylic paints always allows you to correct your mistakes or maybe some strokes which you do not think you needed, but they are still there. So here we go. Now comes the flame. So the flame is pure. It looks really bright. We want to do it with a washed or clean brush. So as I said, I don't wash the brush when I'm painting because it makes my paint a little bit mild, or maybe somehow I don't like it. Okay, so I'm going to make the brightest flame here like this, and I see one more flame in here, but I don't see it very clearly. So I think we're good with this. Let's stick to this candle only. I'm not adding more elements to confuse you guys. And now that the white is it's still in my brush, I want to put some of the strokes on this grass. Not many. I'm not going to cover them all. So if you see, this is going to make a whole lot of difference. It's gonna give so much dramatic dimensions to this simple looking subject. Just a few strokes here and there. And this is gonna make it look close to natural. Well, it's a painting, it's not a photograph, so we do not have to worry. If it serves the purpose, it's fine. All right. So now it is time for the yellow to come in the picture. And we are almost there to the finishing line. Yay. So I'm going to mix this yellow in white. It's going to make a pale yellow, basically. A very, very light shade of yellow, which is expected to cover some of the highlighted areas. I did that mistake. I mixed it with the brush. I'm sorry. Not a good teacher though. Okay, so I wiped it off and I want a very few amount of paint on my brush. And now I'm going to make the detail glow on the outer side of this flame, like this. And it's, I have made a really thick, big candle. Yep. This stroke also stays on the pumpkin, some of the areas where I can see the light is hitting this object and it just smudges. Sometimes I smudge my paints with my finger. This allows me to make the paint look smudged without getting more paint from the brush. You might want to use your finger, or maybe you can use an earbud or maybe a paper swab. There are many techniques people use, but when I'm painting, I use very few supplies and mostly commonly available ones, which you do not have to struggle so much to find out. Go to the store and just feel panic about these during this situation. So this is where the strokes merge. And last but not the least, I'm going to make this more precise now with my last few strokes. Okay. I see a little yellow here because of the flame that hits here. And this is going to make the pumpkin look good. All right. And now, give me a moment. Now, as you see here, you see the candle. It looks like there is some wax which is melted and it makes a little groove inside of this place. So we are going to paint that one. The detail work is usually done by a smaller round brush. So it gives you a little scope to cover the areas which you want to paint and highlight them. Now that I see the flame is overly done, I'm going to cover it with orange and I'm going to make it a little small. As I told you, you get a lot of scope to make the finishings, touch-ups in acrylic paints. So I find acrylic paints are way more easier than watercolor. I have been working and given workshop in all the mediums, but this medium is the best. I'm telling you, it's easy. It basically allows more and more strokes and layers onto each other. So yeah, easy peasy lemon squeezy. All right, I'm taking yellow in my brush now that I have covered the flame with that previous orange that we had on our palette. It is always a good idea, a great idea to make more colors and let them stay on your palette rather than just ending up with the previous shade. Because when you want to correct something, you do not get the exact shades. That's the trick where you might end up wasting a little bit of color, but it is always ideal to have more colors on your palette and then just use them as in when you want to make them more finished. So I'm adding some yellow strokes now one more time as my white is getting dry. The yellow is going to make the overly done white go away, and even the orange is dry now. So yellow is going to basically balance out the overly highlighted areas of this pumpkin. And we do need it because previously when we did the yellow, it was merging with the orange that we had on the surface, still wet. I think this looks good now. Looks better, I would say. It is catching the shape, isn't it? Okay. I am working on the surface which overlaps on the candle. I do have the orange, so yes. Now the orange, after the yellow, I did not clean my brush because I wanted that yellow to stay. And now I'm working on some of the areas where I want to show the orange and lessen the highlights because too much of highlights is going to make it not look so good. Okay. I also want to make more lighter strokes on this candle, upper side of this one, because it is going to be more light. It looks like someone has designed this candle into two colors. That is why it is giving us orange and brown shades. And it gives the seasonal idea, basically. I'm going to cover the circumference of this beautiful candle with that orange. And here, like this. Okay. And then okay. I guess I guess it's time for us to give details to this area. Now that it looks pretty dry and less glossy, it looks like we can definitely work on it. Yeah. So I'm going to give this a couple of more minutes and I'm going to work on this area. But I want to show a little dark surface around along with this grassy effect. So I'm working basically with my raw umber. So I'm making some of the areas dark because they look orange, and the grass lying there is going to make a little shadow here and there. So not everything you need to cover, but a few more strokes of dark areas. It's gonna give you a dramatic effect of shadows. So if you see, we were just painting with a few colors on our palette, and we have the entire variety of shades on our palette. That's the fun, isn't it? Okay. So we are working on our very final last few strokes right now. I hope you guys are enjoying, and I want to see all of your works. Maybe in our next workshop, we can have a little more time before we start the new one. I think Uma is going to announce that once we are done with this session. And by that time, we can see what you have done with today's workshop.
Shweta, you have time. If they want to show, I can just give it at the end of the painting. Okay, they can show it. Okay.
So, Uma, tell me the timeline that we have to keep in mind, because
no, that's fine. You are fine. You can go ahead and you can finish.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So if you see, by putting the shadow effects, the grass is actually looking better than before. It was just flattening out the base, but now because of the shadows, you can feel, okay, the lights and darks and shadows and highlights, they create such a dramatic effect of an elusive surfaces here and there. So up till now, it has been like, okay, the leaf needs to go a little more dark in the corners. And also I'm going to make the veins on it. So I'm again going to work with the raw umber with my tip of this brush. And I'm going to work on the edge, as you can see here. I'm just working on the edge of this. And if you could follow that, so that it just pops out of the background. Because since we have used all the warm colors, it's hard to notice this leaf from a distant place. Okay, easy. I hope all of you can do this. Sometimes I suggest my students to make the pencil drawing if they really need to before they are done, after they are done with the background color. Because if you do it on a plain canvas, the strokes are going to be invisible probably because of the medium. acrylic paints are pretty opaque and you can hardly see what you drew before you started doing your base coat. So this is giving me a very, very nice look. And I have eliminated some of the areas which I thought were thicker than required. So if you see, this is omitted and the darker tone is taking the good shape of that maple leaf. And now that we have this one ready with us, let's work on this area and we are almost done. I'm going to have this color on my palette. I'm going to just swirl this brush and make it more pointy here. Not doing anything, I'm just swirling it so it makes a nice thin point. And then I'm going to work on, what do you call, the texture. Yeah, the texture of this wonderful thing here. So it is going to be a crooked line like this. I'm taking a little more paint, the darker one, and I'm going to paint it around this area because basically it makes a groove which forms shadow. And the broken part, which is right here, this broken part is, it usually dries. It's juicy when we break it. So it's good to give it a little more border to this. And I'm going to fill it up with the previous shade that we made. But for now, just working on this darker tone. I'm taking raw umber and I'm going to form the lines which you usually see on this, like this. I'm not going to make all of them, but yeah, a few of them. And they are not straight or curved lines. They are actually, it spins, it looks like it is spinning around this nice little twig. So yeah, I'm just taking a few looks in the reference pictures. It gives me dimensions. And I think we are good at this. Okay, I'm going to make the raw umber strokes in the middle of this. Just a few strokes because I did them and then I put the lighter shades and then I did them again. So I basically erase some of the details. But yes, in the end, we can always have more work on the areas we want to. And here, I'm going to mix the orange with raw umber. And I'm going to make this candle look more opaque. And I can see the background tones. I'm going to make some of the twigs a little thinner than that they appear. And just finishing some of the surfaces, which I see that they looked thinner than the coat, because all I see from my angle is so much of highlight because of my lamp, probably. I don't know. Okay, coming back to my orange, which I used previously, I'm just swirling my brush so it takes out the raw umber on it and it gives me a little darker tone of the same orange that we have used here. So this is the idea, to make this surface look roundish, not the flat one. The trick is try to make the same hues but darker on the sides because it has a curvature. So mixing orange with that brown shade, not too much, not a big contrast, but a little bit is required to make it look more 3D. So I'm basically working on the sides of this candle right here. And gradually, I'm going to come back to that orange and paint a lot of it here because I want to make this candle look round, cylindrical shape. It would appear flat if I don't do this, right? So the trick behind doing this is playing around with lighter tones, darker tones, and medium tones. And now, that's the trick. I hope you like this. Okay. I guess we are almost done. Just a few more details. And the best thing about this thing is do not forget to put your signature on your masterpiece, because that's the memory you want to create this fall season, right? Okay, so I guess we are almost done. If you want, you can always merge this so it looks like it's a moving flame and it is spreading light all over. I would suggest, since you have color on your palette,
Hello, Shweta? Shweta? Shweta, not here. No audio. Hello?
okay.
Yeah, I just suddenly got, okay.
Oh, I don't know what happened.
Mhm.
Anyways, so I'm going to use the red color, which is on my palette, and I'm going to make the corners look more dramatic because it is a flat orange. If you think this is doing too much, you can have the orange also, and you can just use whatever is lying on your palette to make it look more focused. This area is lighted as compared to the background. So I am just putting a few strokes which make the subjects look more dramatic, and they pop out from the background. So I'm working on with the orange, darker orange. I'm just adding a little yellow to it. This is making this a little grayish tone, which looks okay to me. So you can add some of your creative ideas too, and just try to make this look more interesting, more 3D, you know. And I think we're done. Do you think this went well?
Wow, excellent. Excellent.
Okay.
A really awesome job you did, Shweta.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm honored. Thank you for having me here.
Okay, you are welcome, and I hope everybody has enjoyed it, and I can see everyone here. And also, if I have any questions, let me see it. Really great.
Oh, thank
Okay.
you.
And
Yeah.
some other people, and I don't know, whoever has any questions, they can ask. And it
Yes.
looks beautiful. Awesome job. Again, Shweta, I hope everyone has enjoyed it.